Hey, 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 what's up, guys? Let's do this. See the folks coming in. Give it a minute here. Radio silence. What's up, guys? Note Investor here. What's going on out there? Just checking out the charts. We're going to be doing a pre-Thanksgiving live streams. Greetings from Texas. Welcome. Who else we got in the house? Got George, Hammy, Marcel, Andy, the first crypto channel watching in early 17. You know, I appreciate that. It's been a ride. I remember I was just thinking about that today. I was like, I remember last year Thanksgiving. Remember it was like carnage. Everything had just cracked and we were in the middle of a big break lower. And then you look at the Thanksgiving before that, and I mean, I don't even know if I took a holiday week. I was up all night, I think, trading that day and posting online and oh man, it was crazy. Good times. Still waiting for the Node Investor shirts. You know what? That's a good point. I actually did post some shirts on another site. You were able to buy them for a little while. I'll have to check to see if they're still there, but they were the advanced HODL technology shirts and it had the Node logo on them. They were actually pretty fun. I might have to buy some more of those. I had initially set them up like to do them as giveaways and all that, but it's kind of kind of complicated to give out that kind of stuff out with this kind of an audience, right? If I was doing more live events or in-person events, it would make sense. But hey, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do some Node mugs and shirts just for the fun of it. Let's see what else we got going on. So we're going to look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at some of the charts that are moving, see what's happening, see what's not happening, and we'll go from there. So on the chart now, what you can see on the screen here is the 1 hour chart of BTC. So very granular, or excuse me, the 4 hour view. This is very granular, very close, view. We'll certainly zoom out and take a closer look at the higher time frames and all that good stuff. But you can see here, for those of you that are recognizing the chart patterns here, it's got the signatures of a inverse head and shoulder. That's right. And so we've got the big drop. You had the little first bump, the first rally here. Volume was certainly there. Of course, that failed right at the 10 EMA on the 4 hour chart, right at the EMA zone, which I tend to watch quite a bit. And then it made a new lower low, undercut that. A lot more volume came in right at the lows, started to really bounce off there. And then here we are seeing a pretty good little wick on this most recent drop here, followed by some good volume. And it is now approaching this very near term, okay, this is very near term resistance, right around that $7,400 level. And so breaking above that, I think you could see a little bit of a short squeeze, get some more covering going on, and start to rally. I've been long here for the last couple of days just because after this initial bounce, it was time to start scooping some back up. So it's more of a bounce trade. And what was trying to think of the number I posted on the Slack side. I think I mentioned it was the first, the 10 EMA at the time was back here, so mid 7Ks, and then 8K was kind of the next round number. So we'll get into the details there, but that's really it for now. It's just a little bit of a bounce. We'll see how it goes. Overall, big picture, still a lot of bearish sentiment. Kind of in no man's land here, right? We dropped below a key support level, bouncing into that now resistance, prior support, still above a longer term support level, but a little bit of a bounce going on here. There's certainly been a lot of quick and strong moves in many of the alts, and that's really been the bigger play there is most of the alts. So we'll look at some of those there here. Let me just keep checking in on the comments. We're letting more folks come in, and then we'll get to it here. So what else we got going on here? Hello from India. All right. And let's see here. Mini upside down Spider-Man. Oh. Top alts against BTC. Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely look at that. Check it out. See what's going on there. Very cool. All right. So let's see here. Let me see what else we got going on here on the other screen. Let me pull up the scanners. See what's happening. All right. So just so you guys know, I'm still working on the new node site, the new node insiders. It's going to basically replace what we currently have right now, this thing, and it's a full redo. I mean, it's coming along great. I'm really liking the way it's coming along, adding a whole bunch of new features. But like anything else, it's just taking a little bit of time. It's just, you want to get it right, you're going to test it. Even then, I'm sure there'll still be bugs and all kinds of good stuff, but it's just one of those slower processes, taking longer than I had hoped, but we will get there. Let me see here. I'm pulling that up now on my other screen, but once we do go live, what is this? I'll run a promo and I'll do all that good stuff and drop some coupons here for you guys and get that going. But it's going to be a little bit more open, right? It's going to be a lot more freebies on there. Like right now, you got to subscribe to get all of this. And I'm going to have it a little bit of a mixed bag. So there'll be some premium content for the subscribers, but there'll be a lot more free content, preview looks, limited versions of the alerts and the trending list on all that good stuff, just so you guys can get a feel for what it is. All right, here. So let's go to this guy here and see what we got going on. All right, so got the list popping up here. Monero on the move. Ardor, Phantom's been on the move for a while. Matic, oh man, we're gonna look at Matic. Matic's been beautiful lately. Solve, Vertcoin, there's a name from yesteryear. What else? SNX, it's never going down ever again. Steam, holy moly, Steam. There's a name from yesteryear. Whatever happened to Steam? Steam it. You guys still use Steam it? And Enigma. All right. Well, let's get to it. So let me jump into the charts here. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, before we jump into the charts, let me take a quick pause and okay, I'm going to get emotional. Well, I'm not going to get emotional, but this is not going to be the chart stuff, technical stuff, which you guys all came for. And so just bear with me for a few minutes as I say thank you to the longtime subscribers. Thank you for the folks out in the Slack group who have kept me company for some of you guys for years now. It's kind of hard to believe. And, just the community here and the community there that's really been built really makes it special. So often it's trading can be a very individual and a very isolated thing. And so it's absolutely helpful to have a community and just have people to chat with and bounce ideas off of and all that. And so for those of you that have been there, I just want to say thank you guys for that. And, this is just that time of year where, I get reflective. I look back at the prior year. There's, you look online and there's just so much polarization out there. There's plenty to complain about and be angry about. And I get all that. But, we got to take a pause from time to time and remember that the good things, right? The things to be grateful for. Like that old saying goes, right? The best things in life aren't things. And that's really rung true with me this year in particular. Not to be a downer here, okay? I'm gonna get off my soapbox here very quickly, but This year has been an interesting year for me in the sense that early on in the year, at the start of the year, a friend of mine passed away, and he was a young guy. He had little kids, ages 5 and 3, and it was just kind of like, whoa, just you take a lot of things for granted, and he was, it was very sudden. And it was just kind of a wake up call to kind of really think about, hey, what really matters in life? And then, fast forward about 2 months ago, another friend of mine almost passed away, was in a very critical condition. He's doing much better now, but it was just another same scenario, wife, kids, young guy. And you start to think about those things and you think about what really matters. And so it's easy to get caught up in all of the drama and the pettiness and the backbiting and all that stuff. But, just take a moment, think about what it is you should be grateful for and thankful for. And that's it. That's my public service announcement for Thanksgiving 2019. Thank you guys all for being here. All right, let's move on and let's get with it here. So you may have all heard crypto exchange Upbit confirms theft of $50 million worth of Ether. And so what was it? 342,000 ETH were withdrawn, outflows. And so, pretty good chunk of ETH, but how often does this happen nowadays, right? It was a big exchange. What amazes me more is not the hacks and all that fun stuff that happens, but what amazes me more is how quickly and how easily these exchanges are just like, oh, we're going to cover this. It's not that big of a deal. We're going to backstop this. And it's like, some of these exchanges are just, we all know they print money with the fees that they charge and the trading and all that, but it's just amazing that they have that level of resources to kind of just continue to backstop some of these pretty large hacks that tend to happen from time to time. They happen pretty regularly. So another one in the record books there. We'll see how this one plays out. But let's get to the charts here. Let me close out some of these other things. There's plenty of news to go around. We won't focus on the news so much. We'll just do a quick chart review from here going on and see what is happening. So looking at Bitcoin, if you're just joining us, what I have here is the 4-hour chart of BTC on Coinbase. You can see there's a little bit of a inverse head and shoulder type of pattern going on there, regardless of whether or not it's a valid pattern or this is not a head and shoulder. That's kind of besides the point, because the real thing that matters here in any case is this resistance level here right around $7,400. Closing above that on that 4-hour chart would start to look positive, would finally get it back above some of the resistance from the very near term action. I get it, this is a 4-hour chart, but there is a little bit of an attempt of support being established here. It's trying to bounce from some oversold conditions, and things were getting pretty oversold. We were seeing a pretty strong downtrend here for a couple of weeks after that monster move up, and it just faded. And when it finally broke that support here at 7,500, it was a pretty quick move, but we saw a bullish divergence starting to form here. And with these this second lower low that we saw this week, was not confirmed on the RSI, nor was it confirmed on the MACD histograms. And so by definition, that was the beginnings of a bullish divergence starting to form here on that 4-hour chart, corresponding with some very near-term stretch to the downside action. It was not a surprise to see a little bit of bounce action. So been taking some positions here, actually opened up a position on margin as well. So we'll see how that one goes. But I'm just looking for a break. So it's a little bit of a preemptive move. We're starting to buy into these secondary dips, adding here in the last day or so. And so we'll see how that one plays out. But going to the daily chart here. Again, just an oversold bounce at this point. Let me clear some of these other markings that I have had up on my chart. I was doing some other stuff here. But just going here, you can see there was a big stretch to the downside. The daily 10 EMA at the time was near 7,700. Price was trading at 6,500. You're talking about a $1,200 difference. So that was just ripe for a little bit of a bounce at that point. I didn't get it at that low price, of course, but it was just very stretched, very quickly started to snap back. But that's your first target on the upside, right? 7,500, that's the daily 10 EMA. Above that, the 22 EMA, which is now below 8K, so around 7,900, is your very first near-term kind of exponential resistance. If you also look at the price action that broke down here, there was a little bit of a support level established here around 7,800. Quick fake out to the downside before that big spike, and then it started to roll over and has now broken below that. If we zoom out further, let me go to another chart here that'll be clear, and we go to the weekly chart here. Not BitTorrent, sorry about that. Let me go to this guy there. Here we go. So this is the Bitstamp weekly chart here. And the big support level that ideally the bulls wanted to see hold was this multi-week support between that $7,500, $7,400 level, which price ultimately broke last week. It's trying to bounce from now. The 10 weekly EMA is up near 8,400. So again, oversold on that time frame. But below this, a little bit of no man's land, right? There's not a lot of support. If you look at long historical support, this is going way back to, the summer of 2018 before the big break last November. That major support was basically around that 6K level. Above that, you're looking at around 6,500. And so a little bit of no man's land. Now the price did touch the upper end of that 6,500 level support on this most weekly dip that we saw here. So it is bouncing from that. We'll see if that's the ultimate low. For those of you that have taken that RSI course, the ABCs of RSI, you know that one of the things that I look for is an RSI bouncing off of the 40 level to confirm that things are still in bull mode. As long as they continue to close above 40, they remain in that bull mode longer term. And we're seeing that weekly RSI bouncing off that 40 level at this point. We'll see if that can continue into next week. But for now, a little bit of a bounce off support. But going to the daily chart again, not a lot of confirmation just yet. You're seeing an attempt. For me, it's just a little bit of an oversold trade at this point. We'll see how far that one can go. If it starts to lose this most recent low here, 6,800 call it, then all bets are off at that point. So those are the two levels to be watching in the near term. On the upside, again, 7,500, then 8K is kind of the big round number target that I'd be watching on BTC. That's probably it. Don't need to get into much more detail than that. Hourly charts, who cares about that? Just kind of watching the 4 hour at this point. What's else here? So let's look at ETH. So looking at the ETH hack. Let's go here. I'm going to go ETH USD on Coinbase. Very similar price action to what you're seeing in Bitcoin. It has a slight, lean to the right, but basically the same type of price action there. You can see there's a clear resistance level right around that $153 mark on the ETH USD pair, but also trying to bounce, making a higher low, see if it can take out that resistance here near term. Looking at ETH BTC here. Let's go to Binance. Looking at ETH BTC, I'm going to go to the daily chart just to get a big picture view here. Again, it did bounce into this long time resistance here several times now. Failed, started to rally again here in recent weeks, couldn't quite get there and is pulling back. But big picture versus Bitcoin, this is the level I still want to see it take out. If it can start to close above that, that'd be a very long-term base that is being built here. Again, this goes back to July, right? So if you look at this, lower lows, finally made a low, has been attempting to make higher lows at this point. So that's a long-term low that's trying to be established here, needs to confirm by getting above this near-term resistance here on this daily chart, call it 0.023. So that's really what I'd be watching there on the ETH BTC pair. In the near-term action, probably not a whole lot. I mean, it's still trending lower versus Bitcoin, just kind of indefinitive. I mean, there's probably better alts versus Bitcoin to be trading until this one can break out of that range here. Let's look at the list here. Let me go to the other side here real quick. Some of those names that we were looking at here, and then I'll start going back to some of the names that you guys want to take a look at here. Trending here today here on the trending list. Let's see, we got Monero, which has been on a little bit of a move. All the privacy coins this week have been on a move. Saw Pivx yesterday, we saw Zen, and Navcoin was up like 100% the other day. They're all kind of in a little bit of a move here. Monero's looking pretty good, breaking out here. It has been on a bottoming attempt. You see similar action here. We had this double bottom attempt here a few weeks back, rallied right to this resistance, pulling back and starting to get back up there again, trying to rally versus Bitcoin. Going to the 4-hour view here, seeing some pretty good action off of this higher low that we saw a few days ago. And so we'll see if this one can continue, but getting some play there. How's it looking on the USD side? Monero Tether, not bad. It's already broken out here from that very similar price action that most of these names have right now. Just like how Bitcoin and ETH are looking on that USD pair, Monero has already broken above range there. So looking pretty strong there, outperforming Bitcoin in the near term. What else? Let's see here. Storage is on the move. Ardor. Man, a lot of these names from yesteryear. Ardor, that's been on the move for a while. That's the 4-hour chart there. Very nice action. I'm not sure I'd be chasing that, but very nice. If you caught some of that. Matic. Just Matic's never going down ever again. That's it, guys. Matic, man. I posted this here on the Slack, but I mean, we were watching this one live. I think during my last live stream, I highlighted this cup and handle that was forming on Matic, and ever since breaking out of that, just a monster move that it's had after already moving very nicely. Man, how much is that now? That's up 85% since the breakouts on that cup and handle. What a very good week for Matic. If you look at the weekly chart, right up there, right back at the highs here versus USD or BTC here. This is the Binance highs, so basically June time frame. But Matic's looking very nice. Now, if we look at Matic USD, again, that's a breakout. Same thing. We were watching this level here. It was setting up. Very clear resistance. Again, this just highlights the importance and the simplicity of just using simple support and resistance levels. Wow, 7,400. What the heck did you guys do to Bitcoin? All right. I'll come back to that here. Let me finish my thoughts on Matic here. But, you know, too often as traders, we can overcomplicate some of the trading. And, you know, one thing that I've learned a lot in just trading like stocks is, you know, just simple support resistance levels. I mean, I don't use a ton of indicators when I trade my stocks. When I do day trading, I don't use RSI or MACD or anything like that. I use a couple moving averages. I use a VWAP, which is a volume weighted average price. And I use support and resistance, and that's it. And I look at key levels as turning points. Not a ton of ratios and fibs and clouds and all that. And I'm not saying they don't work or they're not useful. They absolutely are. But remember, price first, volume second. And when you look at price action, support and resistance is one of the best indicators you can use, because if you learn how to identify key support and resistance levels, it's just, you know, this is a picture of where the buyers and sellers are showing up. And so you look at here, sellers are showing up, sellers are showing up, sellers are showing up, sellers are showing up. They lost the battle, and the buyers have overrun the sellers, and you're seeing a big spike. And that's at its core, that's basically what it comes down to, right? Yeah, there's trends, there's all that good stuff too, but nice little breakout there. See if we can continue to follow through. Let's go look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin's popping here. Let's go to that 4-hour chart, breaking above that resistance we were just highlighting here. Let's go to the Coinbase side here, BTC on Coinbase here. Sorry, this is Bitstamp. Where's my Coinbase chart? But breaking above that 7,400 level, very nice. ETH following suit. Not quite as strong, but looking good. I'm going to stay with it. What else? Let's see what else is going on here. Zen has been on a move here for a little bit. A little bit of a bull flag coming in. Some of these BTC pairs are going to start pulling in here with Bitcoin popping. That's generally the way it works. Phantom, I'm just going down my my trending list here on the other screen. Phantom has been moving here a little bit. Phantom big picture is looking interesting here versus Bitcoin, as it's breaking above some resistance here as well. You can see that a lot of these alts are just putting in this long time low, and we mentioned that during the last live stream, just talking about how, you know, some of them are going to just stay at the lows, but a lot of them are definitely worth keeping an eye on there. What else here? DAG, Constellation BTC, has been on a move here. GRS, WanChain, Solve, Vertcoin. Oh my gosh, Vertcoin. Let's see here. FET has been one that's been moving here for a little bit. Nice little breakouts there. Steam. What's up with Steam? A little bit of a spike. Still below this resistance. I think somebody asked me about Steam during the last live stream, which is why I have this drawn. And I mentioned, you know, it needs to hold above this support, which so far it has. Hasn't quite broken this resistance. There's been some wicks. You saw a wick here and a wick here, but not quite closing. Definitely, I mean, if you like this, I'd be watching that range. Let's see what else here. Enigma has been on the trending list for a few days now. Just continues to trend higher. Nice little move here over the last week again. Up about 100% since mid-November. Not too shabby there. And 0x, let's look at 0x here. 0x looking like a breakout candidate. I'd be watching this one versus BTC here. See if we can break out of this range right there. And then, of course, first level to be watching on the way up is that prior high that you saw here at the middle end of October. It'd be your first upside target here. And then above that, actually that'd be a good break above that, because if you look left, that was also some resistance back here. And so if it can break out above that 4,300 level, you could have a pretty decent run versus Bitcoin there. So I'd be watching 0x. Yeah, let's see here. We got credits, ARC, Metal, Cosmos, Atoms, been a good one for a little bit already. Marching higher. I'm not so sure I'd be chasing it now. There are some divergences starting to show up. It's trying to maybe form a double top here. I'd be watching this one here. It's showing some signs of momentum slowing down. If it can't get above this most recent level, what is that, 5,000 Satoshi level, probably won't be a good sign for this guy. So I'd be watching that. What else? I think that's it. So let's see the watch list. What's going on the watch list? We've got a few big cap names showing up here on the BMI watch list. Cardano showing some action. How's that look? Well, again, another breakout candidate. So many of these alts are looking ripe. Cardano. Let's see. Elgo, ARC, Decred. Is Decred still going? Yeah, looks a little toppy there. We'll see if we can break out of that bull flag. Let's see here, what else? We've already looked at Steam. Oh, Mana. Mana had that nice little pump earlier. Do you guys follow this project? I am a big fan of this project. Not for the token's sake per se, but just from a blockchain-based project. Mana is just great. They're doing some good things there. That SDK's out. They're already, you know, you can, it's invite only, but you can walk around the land now. You can create your scenes. There's a marketplace for the land. There's, you know, wearables, and it's just going to be a really fun project. I definitely would be keeping an eye on this one. WAN chain. Let's go look at the WAN chain. Loom. Yeah. All right. So what's on your list, my friends? Let's see what we got going on here. Link, it's broken down already. Let's go back to the BTC here. Bitcoin. All right. I'm going to go through... I'm checking out the comments here. Melissa in the house. Everybody go subscribe to Melissa's channel if you haven't. Thomas in the house. All right. Zen, Nano. Let's go check a look at some of those. Zen. Nice. Yeah, this one's been on a little bit of a move already. This is the daily Zen BTC chart. And I had that Nice pop off the lows. And again, this is not one I'm following. I don't know what's been driving this, but it's been a nice little rally. I must say, though, it is coming into kind of the first test right here, right? You got this little wall. It seems to be where price is showing up. Some sellers are showing up. And then just above that, another little level here. But, yep, it's been a nice move there. EOS, let's go look at EOS because I was liking this EOS breakout that it had. So there was this big symmetrical pattern, started a rally, has quickly pulled back. I really wanted to see this guy hold above this level here on the throwback and then bounce. Hasn't done that, and in fact, now that's become a little bit of a wall here on the way up. So you can see broke below that, now has not been able to get above that, trading below some of these moving averages. So versus BTC is not quite there yet. Until it can get back over that 3,700 Satoshi level, then I think it starts to look good. Big picture, still kind of just consolidating. If you take some of this off and you just look at the broader support resistance, interesting, it's coming into this lower trend line here. But big picture, just putting in a big long-term base versus Bitcoin, similar to ETH and some of these others, which is going to be interesting to watch as we head into 2020. Is this going to mark a long time low that's been established over the last several months, and do they start to finally break out? Or, is this going to be one of those where they just kind of start to form that long tail like we've seen on so many of these alts when you zoom out and they just start to flatline at the lows? But, the bigger cap names, right, like EOS and Cardano and ETH and some of those, I think, they're going to eventually break out of there just because they still have some development going on. There's some projects here. Bitcoin coming into 7,500 here. Let's see if we can get closer to that 8K. If we see much more than that here today, I might start to take off at least some of the margin there on the trade and let the rest run. We'll see how that one goes. But hey, not a bad little trade so far. All right, NEO. Let's do NEO. NEO, after that nice little breakouts, just continued to pull in here. It's now back to this prior breakout level here on the BTC pair. Still below the moving averages here. The daily chart's looking like it's lost the momentum here. There's been a lot of, I wouldn't say negative news, normal news out of China, but just there was too much hoopla around they're going full blockchain and all this good stuff. And everybody was clear that, hey, they're pro blockchain, they're not pro Bitcoin, and in fact they're not pro crypto that's not under their control, right? Like all things there. But you're seeing now full turn on that, right? Where there was like everybody was all excited, now it's the other way around. They're cracking down on exchanges and all that good stuff. So again, the narrative hasn't changed out of there. Yeah, they like the technology, unfortunately, because it helps them do what we don't want them to do, but that's the nature of blockchain. But this one's kind of pulling in here on that news. We'll see if it can find some support. If you like NEO here, I'd be watching it because it's coming into what should act as a little bit of a support level on this pullback. This is where you want to see it bounce from. If it breaks below that line or closes below that, probably a failed breakout at that point. So I'd be watching that one here. On the daily chart, RSI is coming into 40 as well, so that might not be a bad secondary spot, but I just don't like that the prices are really losing the moving averages and starting to trend lower here. Let's see here. Yeah, we did Phantom. Took a quick look at Phantom here. It's been a nice little breakout. I did not do Raven. Raven continues to trend lower there, living below these moving averages. You can see this moving average pair just has been acting as a level of resistance all the way up or all the way down until it can break above that. The trend is your friend, and in this case the trend is lower, and so I'd be waiting for this one to turn here on the BTC pair first. Nano, that's nice. That's a nice little bullish consolidation off that low. Nano hit the radar here last week and a half ago when it was running up here. Now it's been consolidating. Yeah, definitely be watching this one. So you can see here, this prior breakout point is so far where the consolidation is holding up. Again, this one has a lot of wicks, but if it can start to take out that trend line, it might be a nice little break, forming a little bit of a symmetrical pattern here near term. Civic, wow, there's a name from yesteryear. Looking at Civic, let me see here. Let's go to Binance here. Long time low. You know, a lot of people think some of these names will pump in pairs, so that, you know, they've seen Mana and they're seeing some of these, they're thinking maybe Civic will pump next, and you know, sometimes that is the case, right? They kind of rotate. But if I'm just looking at the technicals, big picture, you know, this is the long tail that I'm talking about, that some of these alts may just ultimately do, and they just drift lower, 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 and then they flatline, and then it's kind of a dead action at that point from a trading perspective. I'm not saying the project's dead or anything like that, but I'm just saying from a chart action trading perspective, right? One of the simplest things you can do, right, when it comes to trading, and if you're a long-term holder and you like this for various fundamental reasons, okay, that's a different story. But from a trading perspective, one of the kind of rule number one, or rules of thumb or whatever, is you want to trade where the action is, right? Where the volume is, where the momentum is, and that's, you know, there's an old saying in the stock market, right? You're only as good as the stocks you trade. And that's so true, because you can find the right setup and find, you know, the perfect chart pattern. But if it's not in play, if the stock's not in play, if the institutional money's not driving it higher or lower for whatever reason, it's not getting the action, there's no catalysts, there's no news or earnings or something driving it, then, you know, you're fighting an uphill battle, right? So you want to kind of go with the flow. And that's generally step one, is finding the ones that are in action. Follow the market makers. Yeah, exactly. Find the, you know, where the volume is, where the momentum's coming in, where the trading action is, where the buzz is, the Twitter sphere is going crazy over it, whatever, right? And then, of course, rule number two, or maybe that's rule number two, but this is rule number one, is trade with the trend, right? Counter trend trading, it can be profitable, absolutely. I do it too, but your best trades are always going to be when you're trading with the trend. All right. ETH. Neo, we did Neo. I think I did Neo, or Neo BTC. Let me see what Neo BTC looks like. Yeah, that's the one we were looking at, Neo BTC. And then Neo USD. Neo USD's really lost it, and that was because with the price action in Bitcoin breaking down, took all these USD pairs here, so certainly not looking quite as good anymore. Let's see here, Binance Coin. This is versus USD. Kraken making new lows, trying to bounce here a little bit. We looked at Atom. That's already kind of run up here. ETH. I mean, the daily charts, the long-term charts, right? Most of them are still very much in the bearish camp. They're trading below even the shorter-term moving averages. But a lot of them are bouncing because they're oversold near term, and they were just due for a bounce. From here, we got to wait to see how this one plays out. VeChain had a nice run up to that resistance, pulling back. We'll see if it can get going again. XRP, Zcash, ZIL. We looked at 0x. The BTC pair there was looking interesting. There's BAT. Looked at Mana. All right. Tron BTC here. Interesting. Nice little setup here on Tron. You can see there's a trend line that's being established here on the low end. Get this kind of lower trend line that's starting to act as a level of support. Either way, it's just made a higher low. It's getting back above both the 10 and the 22 daily EMA. Looks like the 10 EMA is about to have a bullish crossover, and it is taking out a little bit of resistance here near term. If you zoom in here on that 4-hour chart, now these lows back here were your resistance level. You can see that this is where there was a little bit of a base, and then boom, big volume spike right over that level, holding. Looks like it wants to get going again, so not bad, not too shabby. Tezos, that's right, forgot about Tezos. Let's go look at it on Binance here. Tezos still in pullback mode. I'd zoom out on this one because it had such a strong move. I'd be watching the daily chart, and it's kind of in that value zone that I look for, right? Here's the daily 10 EMA, here's the 22. So somewhere in between there is where you want to see it bounce. That just happens to correspond with this prior breakout point here, this ascending triangle breakout that it had. So we'll see if that's a secondary entry following that breakout. So if you don't see what I'm seeing here, I'm looking at a breakout here, a pullback here would be ideal, and then you want to see it get going and take out another high there. If we go to the 4-hour charts, let's see here, 4-hour view, RSI is coming in pretty low here, but again, near term looks pretty bearish, but again, I'd look at the higher time frames considering the strong move it had, see if it can find some support, bounce action right around these levels, basically where it's at now, down to around 1500 sats. XTZ, dollar, just kind of sitting tight, range bound, don't want to see it lose. $1.10. Let's see what we got here. I haven't cleared out this list in a little while. Link, still trending lower. Look at that trend line again. I was waiting for this thing to break above that trend line, just never did. Coming off the list for now. RCN, still just edging higher. Feeling like there's some distribution here though. TNT, this one's always hard for me to say. Cryptorium. Matic, we already looked at Matic. It's been a nice move lately. Binance Coin, a little bit of bottom in action. Very similar price action to what we're seeing in Bitcoin and ETH and some of that. You know, you're looking at a inverse head and shoulder type of look on the very short term 4-hour chart. BATS, XRP, Atom, 0x. All right. And Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Again, trending lower here as of late. Needs to break that downtrend there. So, you know, it's mixed bags. It's certainly, there's been some good moves, absolutely, but it's, you know, it's not across the board. You got to be very picky. It's mixed bag. I've been more defensive than not here as of late, except for here in the near term, taking an oversold bounce. But, you know, mostly it's just kind of mixed bags at this point. It's just some moves are good, some moves are not. We'll see where they go. That's it, my friends. Gonna wrap it up there. Wanted to get us on a live stream here pre-Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, be safe. I know the weather's kind of crazy out there in a lot of places. And, you know, it's holiday week, at least for some of us. Enjoy some downtime. Enjoy some time away from the charts. Maybe. I don't know if I can, but we will. But thanks for being here. As always, if you missed my little thank you, my spiel at the beginning, go check it out because it's, you know, I mean it. I do say thank you. There's certainly some things to be grateful for this time of the year. And so thank you guys for being here. Thanks for the comments. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take care, everyone.